Hello, dear friends and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. Well, your host Ram is here back after a long hiatus as far as this Cricket Happening show is concerned. But definitely, I would say that still I am on vacation, and but I can definitely probably not assure you, but definitely I would see to it that this daily cricket show is up daily from now on. I'll definitely make an effort. Now, as far as I know that you have been all waiting for me on this daily cricket show, all my loyal followers who are following me on a very regular basis. I know that you would have missed me. I definitely missed you all. And now we are back in business. So today, what I'm going to do is, since I'm not been able to cover a lot of things, I'm just going to go through a few things. But definitely, what I have for you today is England's historic victory in the Test series against Sri Lanka, where they have surprised everybody with a clean sweep of Sri Lanka in the Test series, with being only the third country being the third country to do so to Sri Lanka in a Test series. And this was a very significant series for the fact that it was basically, one would call it, a spinner series with 51 wickets being taken by the Sri Lankans, 51 wickets taken by the Sri Lankan spinners, and 49 by the English spinners. So definitely this has been a sort of a record Test series where 100 Test wickets have fallen to spinners, and that in itself is something that definitely says that Sri Lanka definitely prepared the pitches absolutely tailor-made to the spinners, but they definitely probably thought that Sri Lankans would be able to do this to them in the similar manner as Australia or South Africa, who suffered very horribly at the hands of the Sri Lankan spinners. But England definitely have proved that their spinners have great skills to turn that around, and that's what they precisely did, as the Sri Lankans, I'm sure, would have been really, really shocked to see the verdict 3-0 clean sweep by England of Sri Lanka in the Test series. And congratulations to England, who have totally dominated this Test series. They have totally dominated this Test series, whereby not only the Test series, they also won the ODI series, they won the solitary T20, I reckon, and it has been a sort of a really hunky-dory ride as far as England is concerned. So congratulations once again. The Sri Lankans were tamed in their own backyard by the Englishmen, and that is something a very good thing to savor over quite a long time, since it was back in the year 1963 that England actually had a clean sweep in an away series. So that is quite a long time. So I'm going to have a look at this. Definitely today the Sri Lankans will set a target of 327. Just going through what happened as far as this particular match was concerned. This is the final Test match. England actually were all out for 336. Jonathan Bairstow came into the team with the presence of Ben Foakes in the team. Really made a point. He was given a one-drop position. He proved it by making 110 with 9 fours and 1 6. And other than that, so the 336 all out for the Englishmen. And there was a 5-wicket bag for the unorthodox spinner Lakshan Sandakan, who had his problems with the new no ball, which was a perennial feature of his game. As far as the Sri Lankans were concerned, in reply, they were bowled out for 240. The highest scorer being Karunaratne with 83 with 9 fours, and Dhananjay De Silva made 73 with 8 boundaries. So there were 240 all out, and the spinners once again coming to the fore, as has been customary in this Test series, where Adil Rashid picked up 5 wickets for 49 runs, with Leach picking 1. England on a very heavy lead that they were into there. They took the lead, and England in their second dig were bowled out for 230. Much better effort from Sri Lanka, one thought, but again it was Josh Butler making 64 with 3 boundaries and 42 coming from Stokes with 4 boundaries. 230 allowed. Dilruwan Pereira, the right arm offie, picking up 5 wickets for 88, and Pushpa Kumara impressing with his bowling, showing some good real pace there. 12 overs, 2 made 28 runs and 3 wickets. The Sri Lankans were given a target of 327 runs to win this particular test match, and this was to avoid the clean sweep. And well, they did not have it anything for them. They were reduced to 4 wickets down on the previous day itself. They had already lost their Angelo Matthews as well, and they were in really tottering at 52 for 4. But then today it was the only thing to talk about was that after the night watchman was out for 7 to the bowling of Leach, it was Kushal Mendes and Roshan Silva stitching together a partnership which was darly needed, 102 runs. But what was important was that Kushal Mendes got into some good form after quite a long time. He's a talented bloke, no doubt about it. His contribution being 86 with 8 fours and 1 6. He was run out, and that was the turning point of the game, because Kushal Mendes was run out brilliantly by Leach, which was done wonderfully well. It was a googly from Rashid. Leach actually, in fact, it was Roshan Silva was getting back for the second run, and it was a brilliance, a piece of brilliance from Mike Leach, the spinner, as he hit the bullseye with a direct hit. And it was Kushal Mendes who not only missed his century but also took down the Lankan Soaps, because with Kushal Mendes at the crease and Roshan Silva at the crease, there was some hope for the Sri Lankans. But if you see the margin that separated them was only 42 runs. So one would have probably said that the dismissal of Kushal Mendes happened to be the key turning point in the game. And after that, Roshan Silva, who had a good series, out for 65 with 4 boundaries, and Leach and Moeen Ali were the ones who did the damage, as the Sri Lankans were bowled out for 284. Pushpa Kumara indulged himself in making an unbeaten 42 of 40 balls with 6 fours and 1 6, showing some good batting skills there for the future. And Moeen Ali and Mike Leach, who have been tormenting the Sri Lankans and definitely getting up to it and really getting level with the Sri Lankan spinners, picked up 4 wickets apiece as their test series ground to a close, with England completing a clean sweep of the test series. Johnny Bairstow was named man of the match, which is healthy competition as far as English cricket is concerned, especially after the series, with Ben Foakes being named player of the series, which was rightly so. And Ben Foakes, let me tell you that he has really triggered this healthy competition. After Ben Foakes made the century, Jonathan Bairstow was thinking whether Bairstow would get his chance. Yes, Bairstow also, Ben Foakes also impressed with his skipping. Let us talk about that as well. And Jonathan Bairstow came into this particular final test and showed to it that he was someone who still was a force to reckon with, as he reeled off a century, really posing a sort of a conundrum for the English selectors now. But Jonathan Bairstow definitely is a real certainty, no doubt about it, as England, as I said, the player of the series or the find of the series for England was Ben Foakes. Tremendously played tremendously, and definitely tell you that the Sri Lankans, as I said, would have been shocked to see the result, and this was surprising. One would have probably thought England would have won a few matches, but defeating Sri Lanka in their own art of spin. And Mike Leach was another one to really take. Mike Leach was another important inclusion, and he was another find of the series, no doubt about it. And I think English spin is in safe hands right now. I think after the absence of Graham Swan has gone, now Moeen Ali and Leach can be definitely expected to do the needful, as they have already shown as to what they are capable of. So well done, guys. So Mike Leach and Moeen Ali, the real stars here in this particular series. Now let's have a look at the a match between New Zealand and Pakistan. We were on day 3, where the New Zealand actually resumed on their overnight score of 24 for no loss, and the openers this was played this was day 3 in this particular test match. We are talking about the second test match. New Zealand are 1-0 in the test series. This was played at the Dubai Cricket Ground in the United Arab Emirates, and New Zealand, replying to Pakistan's very tall score of 418, were doing well. The openers G. Travel and Tom Latham had pushed on the score to 50. They were slowly putting up a decent partnership, and things were looking pretty good for New Zealand before the striker was none other than the Pakistan leg spinner Yasir Shah. He started striking at regular intervals to derail this New Zealand innings to such an extent that the New Zealand who were 50 for no loss at one stage were bowled out for a miserable 90 runs, with Yasir Shah, the leg spinner, picking up 8 wickets in his bag. What a bowling performance from Yasir Shah. Let's have a look at his wickets here. G. Travel was clean bowled as he reverse swept Yasir Shah, and that was the first wicket. Tom Latham was the other wicket that he'd gone. He was totally done in with some turn and bounce in the pitch. He tried to stay on the back foot, and he gave a catch to shot. Like Kane Williamson was someone from 50 for no loss as the first wicket fell, and as he came to the crease, he was a real spectator watching all that happen in front of his own eyes, where the New Zealand innings was reduced to absolute ashes, one could say, as Kane Williamson remained not out on 28 3 boundaries. And what a delivery from Yasir Shah, which reminded everyone about the delivery, the dream delivery, or the golden delivery that was bowled by the former Australian spinner and cricket commentator, now Shane Warne, to English batsman Mike Gatting, the former batsman. Now this was a real beauty. The ball was pitched on the middle and leg stump, and then went past the outside edge, and Taylor was on his forward defence, and one could hear the rattle of the timber as it crashed into the off stump. So Ross Taylor bowled Yasir Shah for naught. Henry Nicholls was the next to go, bowled by Yasir Shah for naught, and this was an unplayable delivery which was bowled by Yasir Shah. It was flighted, and the ball really spat past the inside edge of Henry Nicholls and smashed the stumps. So Nicholls was gone for a duck. Watling was run out through a combination of Hassan Ali, Yasir Shah for just 1 run. Grandholm, Colin D. Grandholm, went on his forward defensive stroke. He was out LBW for naught. He saw this was the 6th wicket for Yasir Shah, as Sodhi went onto the back foot, and the outside edge was snapped up by Sarfraz Ahmed behind the stumps for naught. Neil Wagner this was a ball which was a straighter delivery, and he was going onto the back foot, and it's the end of the as that was the ball which was the flipper really went in, really fished off the pitch, and Wagner was gone LBW for naught, which is a familiar story. Ajaz Patel was also made the same mistake of playing from the crease. He was gone for 4. Trent Boult was the last man out, caught by Sarfraz Ahmed of Yasir Shah. Kane Williamson, the captain, watched it all as New Zealand collapsed from 50 for no loss to 90 all out. And there was one thing that had to be noted, that this was the first time in a test match where we were seeing 6 blobs from a test team, and New Zealand had that record of 6 blobs being collected by the New Zealand batsmen in this particular innings. Abbas, so 8 for 41, 12.3 overs, 1 maiden, 41 runs on 8 wickets, with Yasir Shah totally in control. And not only that, after a 328 runs lead was taken. New Zealand in their second dig once again lost the wickets to Yasir Shah, as Yasir Shah now got 10 wickets in the match, and this was G. Travel, who was stumped by the wicketkeeper Sarfraz Ahmed, as Yasir Shah actually lured G. Travel to come forward, and the ball spun past the outside edge, and Sarfraz Ahmed had a stumping there. And Kane Williamson in the second dig could not do much, was out for 30. There was a lot of turn on the pitch there, and it actually he was caught behind by Sarfraz Ahmed. He was out for 30, and then finally it was only due to the solidity of Tom Latham with 144 with 3 boundaries, and the attacking skills of Ross Taylor, who decided to take the attack to Yasir Shah, was unbeaten on 49 with 6 fours and 1 6, as New Zealand closed day 3 at 131 for 2, still 197 runs behind before they make Pakistan bat again. As you know, the New Zealand were following on in their second dig, and 265 for Yasir Shah, the only wicket taker. I'm not going to go into any of the other bowling figures here, and I thought they have a massive task in front of them. They would expect Latham and G. Travel to take it forward, and then expect the other batsmen to do something about it. So definitely a back to the wall situation for New Zealand here on day 4, on day 3 of the second test match. Just talking about the third T20 that happened between India and Australia, where India went on to level the T20 series 1-1, just coming on the eve of the first test match, which is coming up between Australia and India. And just talking about this particular game, Australia in the final one-day international at the Sydney Cricket Ground, which had vociferous support for the Indians. They were kept to 164 for 6 with some very good bowling from the Indian bowlers, especially it was Kuldeep Yadav who was really keeping the Aussies quiet, and the Aussies, because they were not able to really go after Kuldeep Yadav, decided to throw their bat against the bowling of Krunal Pandya, the left-arm spinner, who because of that, Krunal Pandya snapped up 4 wickets, which was the best by an Indian spinner in T20s. Short made 33 of 29. He was the highest scorer with 5 boundaries. 28 from Finch of 23. Alex Caddy made 27 of 19 with 4 boundaries. Stoinis not out 25. Kuldeep Yadav, 4 overs, 1 for 19, who has done a wonderful job for India in this series. Krunal Pandya, 4 overs, none made, and 4 for 36, showing his bowling skills there in a very good fashion. Even though Kuldeep Yadav was helping him, I thought Krunal Pandya deserves credit for the 4 wickets that he took. As far as India were concerned, they were given a target of 165 to win, and Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan set the tone right away, as in the power play overs they plundered the Aussie bowling. Mitchell Starc was taken apart. Nathan Coulter-Nile was absolutely Nathan Coulter-Nile was the one who was torn apart by the pair of the opening Indian pair of Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma, who went hell for leather against Nathan Coulter-Nile, but depositing for 6s and 4s with regularity. Stoinis got slammed for 22 in a single over, and in power play overs, India were in so control that finally one saw that the Indian openers in 5.3 overs had put on 67 runs for the first wicket, with Sharma contributing 23 of 16, 1 4, 2 6s. Dhawan made 41 of 22, 6 4s and 2 6s. It's Dhawan's wicket was taken by Mitchell Starc, but then KL Rahul failed with the bat with 14. Rishabh Pant was out for naught, and then was the captain Virat Kohli playing with supreme elegance as he stroked an unbeaten 61 of 41 balls with 4 4s and 2 6s. Dinesh Karthik providing him ample support with an unbeaten 22 of 18, 1 4, 1 6. Game over. India winning the match in the 20th over by 6 wickets, and thus squaring the India-Australia T20 Series 1-1. Krunal Pandya was named player of the match, and Shikhar Dhawan took the player of the series. Dear fans and subscribers, as I said, after a long hiatus, It was your host Ram coming back here to share the cricket happenings on this particular show. I hope you all liked it. As I said, I will make it. I'll try to make it a regular show now. But as I said, I will definitely. I'm still on vacation here. Well, dear fans, friends, and subscribers, a pleasure bringing you, especially bringing you this daily cricket show after quite a long time. Gives me immense pleasure. I thought one thinks you also had the same pleasure of listening to me today as I wind up this cricket show by bidding you all a very good night. Thank you.